Before we retrace the Baratta and Visco families in America, we need to understand the reasons why our forefathers left Italy in the first place. To do this, we need to explore the political and social conditions of the old country, or the other side as they called it, at the time when they decided to leave. In the early 1800s, Italy was fragmented into 8 city-states. All but one of them was ruled by a foreign government or the papacy. Only Piedmont was ruled by an Italian king, Vittorio Emanuele II. The southern part of Italy was ruled by King Ferdinand II of the Spanish Bourbon dynasty, known to his people as Re Ferdinando Borbone. His territory was called the Kingdom of the Two Sicilies and encompassed the area south of Rome known as the Mezzogiorno, which included Naples and Sicily. In 1859, Tuscany, Parma, Modena, and Bologna revolted against their rulers and asked to be absorbed by Piedmont. King Vittorio Emanuele now ruled the upper north. This sparked a risorgimento, or reawakening, of Italian nationalism and unification. Giuseppe Garibaldi was put in charge of the Mille, a group of 1,000 volunteer soldiers. They landed on the shores of Sicily and, together with the local people, defeated the forces of King Ferdinand. Garibaldi had now conquered the entire south. On October 6, 1860, when he returned to Piedmont, he greeted his sovereign with the words that proclaimed Italian unity: "I salute the first king of Italy." My maternal grandfather, Michael Baratta, was 3 years old when Italy became unified, and my paternal grandfather, Ferdinand Visco, would only be born 15 years later. After unification, the initial high hopes of southern Italian nationalists were soon dashed. Although the new Kingdom of Italy brought order, democracy, and the availability of universal education to the south, it implemented laws mostly benefiting regions north of Rome. The North left the South to stagnate, while forcing it to contribute taxes for northern economic expansion. The northern Italians became contemptuous of the so-called backward South, and the southern Italians were resentful and paranoid about the prospects of exploitation from the North. At the bottom of the social scale in the South were the peasants, who worked for absentee landlords. Above them were the contadini, or farmers, who owned a small piece of land, as well as a house and sometimes a donkey. Next came storekeepers and artisans, who also owned property. Then came the padrone, or gentry, who owned large tracts of land and who did no manual labor. It would seem that the Baratta family belonged to the storekeeper and artisan class, and the Visco family were contadini. Against this background, the people of the Mezzogiorno heard from their relatives and friends about America, the land of opportunity. And these opportunities were often wildly exaggerated. It was said that in America the streets were literally paved with gold. Southerners were lured to America by the possibility of living in a world where they could work for themselves and not for their landlords, a place where their labors would be handsomely rewarded. And so in the late 1800s and early 1900s, many people from the South, including our forebears, even though they were proud to be Italian and would sing forever about the beauty of their paese, emigrated to America.
In 1903, I was 4 months old, and my mother and father with their 6 children, took a boat from Naples to go to America. My father always heard about America, he could go places and be somebody, and he was anxious to come to America. So he took the whole family. We were 6 children. I was the youngest. I was only 4 months old.
Ai ninna miei facitelo presepio e a tavola mettito piatta mia facito quanna sera da vigilia come si miese a voi stesso.
So we took the boat. It was, in those days, it was rough. It was 3 weeks to get to America. It took us 3 weeks. Well, but my mother, she was nauseous on the whole trip. And she couldn't nurse me. And so who took care of me was my sister, my older sister, who was 11 years old. And she diapered me, fed me, and took care of me, because my mother couldn't take care of me at all.
Mo tengo qualche dollaro e mi pare che non sono stata mai tanto paziente. Ma sono tutte notte a casa mia e te creature me ne senta voce, ma poi mi sono come una Maria.
So we arrived to Ellis Island. First they saw, not I was only 4 months, they saw the Statue of Liberty and they were thrilled. Oh, here we're going to really make something of our children, because that was the main thing.
Come amare, stupane. Ma avete scritto che son tu le chiama.
Well, we went to Ellis Island, and over there, first thing they do is check you, examine you to see if you have any disease or if you're in good health. So thank God, we 6 children, both my mother and father, we passed. And they were so happy. So we got out of Ellis Island, and then we took a boat and we went to New York City, because that was the first stop that you would go after coming to Ellis Island.
So emigrante e ce ne costa lacrima sta America a noi napolitani, a noi canci che animo ci è Napoli, come amare stupane.